Well, I don't intend to become a was for quite some time. Oh, I can travel now, go up to Yosemite, and then after that I thought, I'd love to go to Mexico. I did that. There's August. Look at August. Good Lord. Got 43 sea cruises. It's not so much historic buildings, it's nature. It was beautiful. It was Tahiti. I had a little itty-bitty GoPro camera. I took my monopod, photographic monopod, which stabilized the camera. And I look kind of a bent-over old guy. And they said, he's out there with a cane and he's walking. Well, Burning Man is, well, you can't tell anybody about Burning Man. You gotta go there. You can go buy a motorhome. I wanted to build one, so you buy just the chassis part, and I built it on my front lawn. It took about 1.5 years, but I had a motorhome the way I wanted it. Botswana was very interesting, and the nicest animals I've ever seen. You can have an ordinary backyard and still find that same joy of celebrating the end of a really enjoyable day. I could have a wheelchair, and I could just sit there and just say, oh, let's run Tahiti. Oh, let's run the Caribbean. I can sit there because it's all in my hard drive. I got a hard drive up here, runs at 7,200 RPM, got a lot of sectors open. Fun days of life. In 1954, Walt had hired the original design Imagineers to work on Disneyland. I'm the last man standing. Bob Gurr, Disney Imagineering legend. The Ferrari Testarossa. It's called Proportion. A lot of designers never got it. This is a Tucker. I'm a designer. I enjoy and honor good design. I flew for 50 years. Yeah, this was my airplane. That's a German motor glider. Propeller is only for takeoff, so you turn the engine off, and I fly like a bird the rest of the day. Walt Disney, he didn't care what you'd done before. He didn't even want to see a resume. He's only interested in what you're going to do. And then all of a sudden he asks you to do something that you've never done. He did that to everybody. You learn a new trade and you become very successful at this new thing that you got asked to do. Jobs that were big mechanical ones, I would be the lead designer. In other words, I would establish the overall configuration of what the mechanism, the machine, the installation, or the attraction would be. 45 years, I was asked to do 250 projects, all of them different. I never did anything over the second time, so everything was fresh. You know, Disneyland designed monorail, submarine, Matterhorn, a motorboat, and a brand new Autopia car, all in about 1.5 years' time. Voyage through inner space, and that was followed immediately by Haunted Mansion. Steve went in Las Vegas, wanted to have a pirate battle show on a street where 2 big ships get in a fight and one of them catches on fire and it sinks. I mean, these totally outrageous pieces of machinery to do. Michael Jackson wants me to design custom lighting. Well, you know, in the rock and roll business, you only specify and rent the lights and then they go back after the show. But he wanted to buy something nobody else had. I'm not in his industry, so he had sense enough to leave his industry and go out to somebody else's industry and say, can you do lighting for me? And I'd never done lighting. And I said, well yeah, I can help you with that. He was like Walt Disney in that you're going to work on it till the thing is exactly right. He knew what people wanted, and he knew everybody wanted to see stuff done right. 26 years old, but he never called me Bob. He always gave a half bow, held my hand, and said, Mr. Gurr. That's kind of his... Projects like the Flying Saucer for the 1984 Olympics closing ceremony in Los Angeles.
Something's going to happen here now. Here comes the spaceship.
That has to be a never fail.
You believe this?
It's got to go through a 15-minute window of live television all around the world, and it's got to not fall apart in the air and not get in trouble with a helicopter, because we're going to lose the flying saucer and we're going to lose the helicopter and maybe the pilot of the helicopter. 50-foot thing with 600 lights on it, scare the daylights out of everybody.
Oh, it's several hundred feet high.
But
still.
I came up with this design of this machine, and the people still trying to figure out, was that real or was that fake? Things like that.
Wait! There's a tram load of people down there. We've got to go down and warn them. Attention, people on the tram. You are in danger.
King Kong Universal, 1986. 30-foot tall, animated King Kong. Nobody ever done something that big.
Construction of King Kong began with the aid of a computer. The task of bringing the figure to life fell to an expert in audio animatronics, Bob Gurr.
It's never been done before, then I'm very interested in doing that. You start doing projects and you find out you only want to work with an A team, never a B team. But it's contingent upon you choosing what work to turn down. One time I turned down $8 million worth of work for a large unnamed company, and they were surprised I turned them down. And then 2 years later, the project was a total failure and had to be completely done over. Most people will take any job that comes along because they're hungry, but don't be so hungry that you sign up to do something that'll take you out of business. You can communicate without a computer, without anything, just 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and pencil. A lot of us, we see the blank paper. That is our gift. They cost you absolutely nothing, no electricity, no nothing. You want to get kind of the feel, the essence. I want to see how you think. So you don't want to go too far too soon. You know, there's going to be somebody up in there, there's going to be some people in here. I can look out here and I have this great big expanse out here. It keeps your mind sort of way outside yourself. These are my mountains. When I was a little kid, I was always getting into trouble because I wanted to know stuff. I wanted to poke my nose into stuff. I could see I could upset a teacher. A teacher gave us all assignments, and I looked at the assignment, and I thought, well, that's ridiculous. So for several weeks, I didn't do the slightest bit of work. And then when it test time, we could put all our pictures on the wall, and I didn't put a picture up there because I didn't draw one. And the teacher said, "Where is it?" And I said, "Sir, your assignment was completely irrelevant to my interests, and I refused to do it." Naturally, I hurt the poor guy's feelings, and he worked very hard to get me expelled. Over time, I did get expelled from 3 schools, even got sent to a military academy. And aside from my father beating me with a razor strop, I always saw things as, you know, you get the end of the whole episode, it was like, yeah, I got that thing done my way. And it was, the school lost. When it rains, I get to sit out here and listen to the rainstorm in my hot tub. You could say that creativity and troublemaking, it's hard to tell the difference. Isn't that right, Mr. Devil Duck? My abode. One of the things Walt wanted me to do was the mechanical design of the Abraham Lincoln for the 1964 World's Fair. I designed the entire body. We made stuff that was bulletproof. Things darn near never broke down. I'm holding Abraham Lincoln's hand like I'm doing his manicure. It's a very funny looking, and it shows me fat. Yeah. Well, you know, in high school, I would walk behind people so that people wouldn't see me. And I kind of got over that. These are the executives at Walt Disney World back in the late 60s. Heavy executives, and I'm not tongue-tied like I would be in high school. Today, everything is long meetings. In the Walt Disney days, you went direct to the salient points of something because you didn't have a bunch of secretaries, you had no managers, no coordinators. It's simple. That is considered a meeting. That would last maybe 5 minutes at the most. Come on in. Everybody understood what they're going to do. That's the simplicity of management. The Admiral and I are out personally checking the clearance of a boat for a new boat ride. And this is me in my boots. We're out in the mud. I mean, that's how detailed in the field a designer would be and the head guy of the entire park would be. All right, I was a hippie once. Look at that hair. The official state visit from Japan, and that's Miss Japan. Well, Walt Disney comes to me and he says, Bobby, I want you to get started on a monorail for Disneyland, and then he walks away. Design-wise, it's very simple. It's a simple geometric pointed shape with these two little fins going down the side of it and very simple windows. And it turns out it can be iconic when it's simple and direct. So I make this drawing. Walt takes a look at it. Bobby, can you build that? Sure, I can build that. End of meeting. And then when it's done, it's like, wow.
And here comes the Disneyland Alweg monorail coach for its first official run.
Never seen something like that until it came out of my pencil on my paper and made into drawings and built in the shop and test and install it, and it works.
A long step forward into the future. Today you're seeing America's first scheduled monorail system in operation. Soon others will follow, heralding the day when such rapid transit systems will relieve America's crowded streets.
Fan mail's kind of nice. You know, people have a good time at the parks and they want to thank you. So, little kid will make drawings. I get things I need to autograph. They send me sweet little cards, and then they have a little contact with somebody who was there that helped create that magic for them. Okay, garage band. All right. Most people don't know that I'm not a licensed engineer. I never had engineering training. I was able to freely create in any direction, not following any kind of a pattern at all like education would give you. Don't put a label on me. Don't tell me what I can't do. There are people in companies that recognize creative people. Sometimes troublemakers are really creative.
That's the monorail.
You might just be one of those troublemakers.